Well, hey, welcome to DECENTRAFIVE. My name is Jason Dukes, and this is the show where we try to take 5-ish minutes, run through 10 questions, and have zero edits. Our special guest today is Sammy Arriaga. He is a music NFT aficionado. He's done an amazing job launching his own stuff recently. He's kind of in a country blends with electric dance beat. And I love your music, Sammy, and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Jason. I appreciate you having me.
I love it, man. Well, all his bio and links, even to his NFTs, if you'd like to grab one, are going to be in the show notes. Let's jump right into the first question. So you from Miami, right? You end up in Nashville. Can you give us a brief overview, kind of filling in the stops in between?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born in Hialeah, Florida, which is a suburb in Miami. I was raised in a Cuban household with two powerful Cuban women my whole childhood. And my dad also, I'd see my dad every other weekend. And, I'm just very proud of having such a strong Hispanic family and being raised on all kinds of genres and stuff. Then I moved to Orlando, Florida for university. To try to get a degree in recording arts, but I found out real quick that wasn't my cup of tea. I'm not very good in school, so I instantly packed up my bags and made the big move to Nashville in 2011, and lived there for about 7 years, and jumped to LA for about a half a year, maybe like 6-7 months, and then went broke. Got back in my car and went right back to Nashville and been there ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you mentioned it already, but you're bilingual, Cuban-American singer-songwriter. Expand a little bit on what you said, just that heritage. How does it shape your perspective as an artist?
Man, it's crazy because growing up, country and, and pop music wasn't necessarily in my playlist. It was mostly like hip hop, rap, salsa, reggaeton, like Spanish speaking music. And I have to say, like, all the different styles of beats and melodies and instrumentation, like, I feel like it's pretty much like the perfect fusion of like what I sound like today in country music. Because I like to blend all the different elements into one and then add my final touch to it. But yeah, I feel like when somebody dives into my music, they're definitely going to hear, even if it's not a traditional Spanish song, they're definitely going to hear some of my roots in there. If it's not through some of the words and the way that I sing them, it's probably through the percussion and the melodic elements of the songs.
I've been enjoying them a lot. So one electric dance song and one country music song that you identify most with.
Oh, okay. I love anything Swedish House Mafia. Big fan of them. And then country song, there's so many good ones. I mean, I'm a big fan of Sam Hunt, big fan of Keith Urban, Rascal Flatts. So anything by them.
That's awesome. So I'm curious, who introduced you to Web3 and the idea of music NFTs?
It's crazy because the person that introduced me to Web3 was a really good friend of mine from back home in Miami. Somebody that I actually worked with. We did a song together years ago, and he actually called me and said, "Hey man, I don't know if you've like studied anything about NFTs or have any crypto, but I'm part of these communities that I think you'd be really, really into, because as a creator, a musician, I'm also very interested in a lot of other creative things like art, anime, trading cards, all kinds of stuff, anything that has to do with creativity." And he's like, "I really see you excelling in this space, especially with you being an independent artist and, owning your masters. I really think that you can get creative and, start introducing yourselves to these different communities and finding the best way to like tokenize your music and potentially, earning some crypto through Web3 and growing your artist platform in that way on the blockchain."
It's very cool. So 3 words to describe what it felt like when you sold out MetaGirl.
Rebirth. I'd say a fire. I get a little fire in my soul.
Yeah.
And community.
It's awesome.
I gotta say community, because even in Web 2, after all the success that we've had on TikTok and all the streams and all that stuff, I never really had a grasp of who my real community was. I just knew that people were out there listening to me and they were aware of me, but I didn't really know who my actual fan was. I never had that intimate connection until Web 3. It really opened my eyes to what community really is. And I really wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for the Web3 community that I was able to put together.
It's special. I agree. It's very special. So dream songwrite and music NFT collab. Do you have one? Like somebody you're just like, oh, man, I would love to write and do a music NFT with this person.
This is a kind of a curveball, but David Foster.
That's awesome.
Yeah, David Foster was the soundtrack of my childhood. He was the producer of most of the singers that I grew up listening to. And he's written some of my favorite songs of all time. And I think from a songwriter's point of view, I think writing with somebody like David Foster would really, allow me to say, like, I reached the pinnacle. You know what I mean? Like, he's just literally like legendary when we're talking about songwriters. One of the best in the game.
That's so good. I hope that comes to fruition for sure.
Thank you.
So why should someone go right now and grab one of your MetaGirl or Pulse Pass NFTs?
I feel like whoever goes and grabs a MetaGirl right now would really understand the concept of like blending just a beautiful piece of art. I had Raspy Arts, the 3D designer that designed MetaGirl, good friend of mine from the UK, create a beautiful piece of a post-apocalyptic art, all 3D, crafted by him, blended with the full song of MetaGirl, which is my first blockchain-inspired love song. I'm aware that a lot of people still are very clueless to the words Ethereum and blockchain and some of the references that I make in the song, but I truly feel that we're trying to catch that early, like being an early pioneer of the space by using that terminology, and I think that they would like just being part of my community. I mean, it's just a bunch of music lovers and people who appreciate melodies and lyrics and art, and I'm just very proud because everybody's very healthy and very helpful to each other in my community. So aside from the music, aside from the art attached to it, the people involved are just irreplaceable. So the Pulse Pass is kind of like, it pretty much is the all access pass into my Web3 music journey. It comes with a ton of perks, including merch discounts, free access to my shows, mint discounts. For example, we have the Pixelated mint coming up in a week. So whoever holds a Pulse Pass gets a massive discount on the mint. And then, once we get the token gated section of the website up and running, they'll have access to that, where we're going to be doing a ton of giveaways and a ton of cool stuff that they won't want to miss. So I hope that was a good explanation.
It is for sure. I think that's great. So what inspired Pixelated, the one that you've got coming up? You said next week, right?
Correct. Yeah, so Pixelated, the song itself was inspired by digital love yet again. I feel like we're moving towards a world where, it's going to be a common thing where people meet online. They meet in a digital world, in a pixelated world. And, at the end of the day, love is what you make it. And, that's the hook song. That's the hook line of the song. It's, I can feel the love we're making, even if it's pixelated.
That's good.
And so, so I gravitated towards that feeling, that sentiment. And so I decided to write a whole song about it. And we created a whole collection of 5,555 pieces. They're all pixel style, chibi pixel style, all hand drawn by Chloe Zorn. also known as Dark Nutrient on Twitter. And we actually met via DM, believe it or not. I just resonated with her Twitter page and said, hey, I got an idea for a song. I would love for you to be the core artist for the project. And sure enough, you know, thank God for social media, we made it happen. And here we are, 1 week away from dropping the biggest project I think I've ever put out in my life. And yeah, it's gonna be a cool collection. It'll have the song attached to all the NFTs as well. But here's the cool thing: we actually decided to not only produce the original version of the song, but we decided to produce 10 alternate versions of the song.
Wow.
We're gonna have like a pop punk version. We're gonna have a symphony version. We're gonna have a piano version, a Western version, etc. And those are gonna have rarities as well. And they're going to be auto-generated throughout the collection, throughout the minting process as well. So we're going to make that we're going to make the music an actual property, along with the, you know, with the head traits, the shirt traits, you know, etc. So I'm really stoked to see how many, collectors will collect all the 11 versions of the song. And you know, who knows? They might go crazy, and even after collecting all the versions, they might keep buying the PFPs, because the PFPs are some of the coolest pixel arts out there. So I really hope they like it.
I love it, man. I agree with you. I've seen some of the previews of the PFPs, and I look forward big time to hearing the music as well. So,
thanks, brother.
Craziest place or situation you've been in when a song idea download happened?
Ooh, craziest, man. I gotta say, METAGIRL was probably the craziest one, because the story of METAGIRL is kind of mind blowing. I mean, I didn't write that song like myself. It was more of an idea from somebody on Twitter Spaces. Believe it or not, somebody was like, "Hey, Sammy, you're spending all these hours with DGens. You should write the DGens a song. Like, dedicate a song to us. You know, we've been there for you, so you should like." Dedicate something to us, you know, to the people who've been there for you. So I'm like, all right, let's see, I'll get creative. So I went on Google and I started finding a bunch of cool words and the Web3 thesaurus. And I found a few words and, you know, put some together until they sounded cool to me, and came up with a cool melody on my ukulele. And then I came up with the chorus of METAGIRL. I sang it on a Twitter space, and everybody lost it. They're like, oh my God, you got to finish that. So if it wasn't for the community, you know, planting that seed in my mind about writing a Web3 love song, I don't think we'd even be on this call right now. So I would say that that's pretty crazy.
That is, man. I love that. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. So last question. Who else, and we ask this, by the way, to every guest, who else should we have onto Decentrify?
Absolutely, hands down, Violetta Zeroni. Violetta is definitely a female pioneer in the space. She's been doing some pretty incredible things on her end. I had the pleasure to meet her recently in Nashville, and you know, we collaborated on a few videos and on my private Zoom concert for my holders last Sunday. And we're gonna be doing a bunch of other cool stuff here coming up. We have a show on the 10th with July the Guinea as well. Famously known as the guy who duetted the Crypto Boy song and went viral on Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a pretty wild show. The cool thing about Friday is that it's going to be the first ever token gated music event in Nashville history.
Wow.
So I'm pretty excited to be able to, you know, hold that moment, you know, in my memories. So that's going to be happening. And then somebody else that I really support is Spotty Wi-Fi. Spotty's an OG. I'm not sure if I missed that episode, but if he hasn't been on the show, he's definitely got to be on. He's one of my favorites in the space. Somebody I look up to and I've learned a lot from, and very honored to be nominated NFT NYC alongside both Spotty, Violetta, and Blau and Warp Sound as well, which I truly respect them as well. They're all, you know, people I look up to. So yeah, all awesome things happening in 2022.
Very cool, man. Well, I love that. And I will, we're already talking with Violetta, and I'll definitely, if you can connect us with Spotty Wi-Fi, or if not, I'll try to reach out to them. But man, I would love to have them on too. It's been a delight to talk with you today. And I know you're traveling, and I know you're at 2 different NFT things right now. And I hope they go super well. You got NFT NYC coming up as well. And Again, just a delight to have you on today.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.